I'm gonna teach you the keys to creativity. Let's calm down. Ladies and gentlemen, we now begin the plan. This is going to be very, very complicated. And I don't think most of you are going to be able to follow through with this. But this isn't about only most of you. It's about the best, the strongest, and the brightest of you. I'm going to tell you a story. During the conquest of the great leader, Genghis Khan, oftentimes cities could not be breached. For the entire horde to breach and break through without insiders opening the gates. Gatekeepers prevented the horde from marching in. What is the first role of a gate opener behind enemy lines who will open the gates of the city to the Mongol army? Secrecy. Secrecy. We've theorized the history of the Bolshevik Party. We've theorized the history of the Chinese Communist Party and what they all have in common. And what is the key to their success is secrecy. The Bolsheviks operated in a time, thank you, Don Lemon, of political repression in which they could not be forthright about their true intentions, true vision, true beliefs, and true ideology. So they thought they just had to do this because they lacked the necessary openness to be able to tell people what they really believe. The truth is, this accident that forced them into secrecy was the absolute and utmost secret of the success of the Bolshevik Party. Because secrecy isn't just about hiding true things. Secrecy in and of itself is a creative force. Secrecy allows you to have the discipline to distinguish things that are on the surface and unconscious, unspeakable, and prohibited truths. Within the realm of Islamic theology and mysticism, there's a word. It's called Takiyah. When Muslims, particularly Shia Muslims, were faced with repression and were forced to conceal their religious beliefs, they employed the methods of Taqiyya. Taqiyya. Forgive me if I can't pronounce it correctly. Taqiyya. Taqiyya. It's called Taqiyya. You have to ask the question, is Taqiyya a form of lying? No. It is the science of organized belief. Not even in circumstances of repression, but in general. There's a difference between secrecy and lying. When you are concealing your beliefs, when you are concealing your allegiances and your affiliation with infrared, you are not lying about your loyalty. You are addressing the repression that prohibits and disallows you from identifying with infrared. Only insofar as infrared is being banned from the party, is it within your right to lie about your affiliation with infrared? You will join the Communist Party, and about infrared you will say nothing. From this moment forward, I'm going to give you a list of protocols. First protocol: the social media and Discord accounts that you use to interact with other party members is going to remain separate from the accounts you use to interact with the infrared community and infrared at large. Your CPUSA social media and your CPUSA Discord will have no affiliation to infrared. You will not share pro-infrared memes. You will not say anything pro-infrared. You will not like infrared content on Twitter. You will not say anything positively about infrared. You will have two accounts. One as a member of the guerrilla army, the other as a member of the Communist Party. This is of utmost importance. If you have one account and you are, on the one hand, being pro-infrared online, and on the other hand, affiliating yourself with the CPUSA through the lens of that account, you're going to get banned from the party. Do not be pro-infrared on an account that is not anonymous. You must use anonymous accounts to be a member of the guerrilla army for now, insofar as you're with the Communist Party. If you're joining the Communist Party, you are with infrared anonymously. You understand? We're not going to do this forever, by the way. I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen. Now, here's the protocol. You're going to act and pretend like you don't know what infrared is and you've never heard of it. You join the Communist Party. You're going to make up a story. You joined because a friend recommended it to you. If you don't have a proper alibi to name a friend, then you should rather say something like, I was in the DSA, or I was radicalized by the 2020 elections and Trump and all that kind of stuff, or the media was demonizing communism and talking about communism. So make up a story that explains why you're joining the Communist Party, but don't talk about infrared. Don't talk about infrared. You are an innocent lamb. You are innocent. You're not a guerrilla soldier, officially speaking. You're innocent. You're just a random guy. You may not even be that theoretically savvy. You're an innocent, innocuous person. You represent some random person. You represent some random guy off the street. Oh, I'm just a normal guy who joined the Communist Party because I was interested in it. I don't know who infrared is. I don't know anything about infrared. And that's what you're going to stick to. Now, this is where it's going to get difficult. Things are going to get very difficult, my friends. Things are going to get very difficult. If they press you to denounce infrared, first say you don't know who they are. And if they tell you about infrared, they're going to say something like, infrared's a racist, misogynist, chauvinist, Nazi, fascist, piece of shit. You're going to say, oh, yeah, those things sound really bad. I guess infrared is all of those things. You're not going to fight back. You're going to play stupid. Well, they're telling me what infrared is, and they're telling me that's what it is, so I guess that's what it is. They're going to test you to see your loyalties. So if you are prodded to denounce infrared, you must denounce infrared. But remember, you're denouncing the straw man of infrared they're creating. So you're still being honest. You understand? Now, you must obey democratic centralism. All of the stupid bullshit being issued from the top, you're going to have to roll with it. They're going to tell you to canvass for Netflix employees. Do it. Follow the prerogatives and follow the orders. you have to make yourself a delegate. And before you're going to be a delegate, you're going to be a leader. I need you guys to become the leaders of local chapters. You need to lead. In order to get in a leadership position, you have to trick these people and gain their trust. And you got to do everything necessary to blend in. And only the smartest among you are going to be able to do that. You are a guerrilla agent. Now, once we arrive at a point in which enough of you are in positions of leadership of your respective chapters, you're going to be able to herd the members of your chapters like the sheep of a flock. And you're going to be able to put pressure on this central to lax a little bit about infrared. Maybe it was a misunderstanding or something. They're not going to be able to resist the pressure. They can't kick everyone out. Remember, the goal is to acquire hegemony. The goal is to acquire hegemony of the party. Okay? It's about hegemony. Now, the more power you have, the more freedom you have to pursue alternative paths in general. You need to be social butterflies and you need to be natural born leaders. What you need to do in these local chapters is steer people in the direction of working class positions. It's not that hard to do. You have to go against the left-wing gatekeepers, but you have to do it in a way that's not going to give you away. You don't know anything about infrared. Matter of fact, you're against infrared. You got nothing to do with it. You understand? You have to be very careful that they don't detect you as a detractor, right? A detractor from the mainstream trend of the American left. So if they don't object to anything, they talk about Trump and then all this shit, you roll with it. You understand? You roll with it. Now, how are you going to do that? This is where the science of Takiyah comes in, because Takiyah is also a science of maintaining your inner beliefs while projecting by means of dissimulation a completely different position externally. And this is a very important science. What you have to do is hone in and focus upon meat and potato issues, small differences that already exist. For example, one of these might be the stance on the American flag. If you take a position not being against the American flag, your cover is not going to be blown. You understand? You have to take the right positions in regards to the contradictions within the party that actually exist now. Focus on the meat and potato issues and controversies. For example, right now they're pushing for an orientation of unionizing PMCs, right? You want to focus on the struggles of the American working class. You say, we should be reaching out to these people who are in danger of being won over to the fascist Trump. Use their language to blend in. You understand? You are going to assume the concrete meat and potatoes, objective and material positions of a working class party, but you're going to do it in a smart way. You're not going to project infrared and our ideological talking points and even our direct theoretical talking points. The theory you're going to learn from me and the collective, and that's going to be your input. You're going to internalize that theory, and your output is going to be one of dissimulation. Your output is not going to be telling others of our theory, but actually practically applying our theories. And they're not going to know our praxis. They're going to just know our input. They're not going to know what our output looks like. Because there's an objective contradiction between the two. Remember, Taqiyya and secrecy is about decoupling input, inner belief, and output. Dissimulated projection. You understand? If you are someone who's going to go in the party and beat your chest about infrared and talk about infrared and get really passionate about the true theoretical positions and ideological positions, you're too weak for what I'm talking about. A lot of you are not going to be able to help yourselves, and you're just going to get banned. You're going to get expelled. But I'm talking to the really smart and savvy ones who are going to be able to master the Taqiyah of maintaining internal flame of belief, while at the same time maneuvering the external world of contradictions to ultimately defeat the enemy. Because remember, Takiyah is a strategy of war. It is not only a strategy of preserving your religious beliefs, but ultimately overcoming your oppressor who is prohibiting you from actually talking about your real beliefs. You understand? You don't need to talk about Haas. You don't need to talk about infrared. You don't need to talk about any of those things. All you have to do is follow the rules and make the right decisions within the scope of those rules. Now, I know that these fucking people in the party in your local chapter are going to be insufferable. You're not even able to withstand their fucking presence. So here's what you got to do. You got to get friends. You got to get people around you, OGs, real tough men and women, people who are culturally similar to you, who are not a bunch of soft, snowflake, professional managerial bitches, but come from your backgrounds, and bring them in with you. You have to put the right people in the party so they can't isolate you and kick you out. You have to blend their party, which is a mishmash full of a bunch of PMC, DSA, hipster parasites, and bring in tough-minded, working-class people. But you have to do it in a blending way so they can't immediately remove you. They're going to notice you're different. They're going to notice you have a different character, temperament, and demeanor, but you're not giving them anything concrete to formally expel you on. Like, for example, they can't expel you because you have a working class cultural temperament. They can't expel you because of the way you carry yourself and you know how you talk and your demeanor and your tone of voice. These are all ephemeral things that have relevance in culture, but they can't nail you on that. Now they can nail you on something like you know, if you directly say things like Trump, you know, wasn't the worst guy in the world, they can do things like that and really nail you, right? Or if you talk about things like, oh yeah, the PMCs and yeah, they can nail you on those things, right? But they can't nail you on the things that are like formally not written, right? They can't just make rules. Otherwise, there's one or two, listen, just follow the plan. We have this all planned. If there's two options. We're going to take over the party, or they're going to become so fucking paranoid that they're going to like micromanage 1 trillion rules in a paranoid way to filter out infrared people, right? Because this is a game of secrecy and filtration and infiltration, okay? This is about infiltration. We are infiltrating the Communist Party to take it over. That is our goal. Yes, I am stating that fully. And just that is our goal, is to take over the Communist Party, 100,000%. Okay? But you have to be smart. Now, within 2 or 3 years, and by then you will be firmly planted and rooted in the party. There's going to be an election. And at that moment, that's when we make our move and take over the party. You're going to be a delegate, and as a delegate, you're going to be able to vote for the Communist Party's leaders. And on this road, we'll talk more about it as we go. And this is going to be a very long and tenuous process. But as we go along, we are going to replace the National Committee of the Communist Party. You have to be very smart about this. It's going to take a lot of maturity, a lot of patience, and a lot of toughness. But brothers and sisters, let me tell you what. I'm going to be here with you. It's going to be hard to stomach. It's going to be hard to do. But you're going to come home after your meeting with these Communist Party people. You're going to turn on infrared. And you're going to watch and you're going to listen. And I'm going to be guiding you through the whole way. And they're going to be watching too, because they're going to see, what is Haas saying they should do? And they're going to say, oh, everyone who's obeying Haas's orders, that's how we know they're infrared listeners, and we're going to ban them. But don't worry, guys, because I have, and I'm going to say this openly right now. Little does the National Committee of the CPUSA know, I have many agents within the Communist Party. I have eyes in their Discords, in their Twitter groups, in their communities online, and in real life, in their local chapters. I have eyes and ears as far as what's going on in the Communist Party. I have eyes and ears. I know what's going on. And these people that I have planted in, these CPUSA members, they wouldn't even ever be able to tell. They have no fucking idea how deeply fucking rooted we infrared showrunners are in their party. Now let me tell you what. Do we like having to do this secrecy stuff? No, the Bolsheviks didn't like have to do it either when they were facing repression by the Tsar. But if the Communist Party is going to make it its goal to ban infrared, we're going to plant ourselves in them. And we wear our intentions on our sleeve here. We want to turn the Communist Party into a working class party, into a viable party that can lead or even become a viable third party. We want to re-examine and re-evaluate the significance of the Popular Front. We want to do all those things. That's our intention. Our intention isn't to destroy the party. It's not that we're fascists or right-wingers who want to hijack the party, wherever the fuck the dumbass Joe Sims is saying. We're doing it because we sincerely believe in reviving the Communist Party as the Communist Party. And that's why we have to resort to these measures and resort to these tactics. Now, Taqiyya is very important, my friends. Joe Sims and the National Committee must be publicly respected. If you're in the Communist Party and you're affiliated with them publicly, as far as it's concerned publicly, you better show respect to them. They are the leaders of the Communist Party, after all. Now, if you need the catharsis, don't worry. I'm going to be shitting on them all day on my show. And that's why I'm not going to be a member of the Communist Party. I'm the Khan. I'm like Genghis Khan. I'm not walking in that city until you guys open the gates for me. Otherwise, I'm staying out of it. You understand? I'm free to say whatever the fuck I want because they can't ban or expel me or police me. They have no authority over infrared whatsoever. I'm going to be shitting on Joe Sims. I'm going to be talking all the shit in the world about Joe Sims. But in public, you are not. You understand? You must not emulate Haas. You must join the party, swallow your pride, and stomach having to bear these lefties while maintaining the inner flame of belief. There's no directness in communism. It's dialectics. There's no directness in building a party. A party is about recognizing the difference between an individual's beliefs and an individual's opinions and the form and structure of the party. And we are after the form and the structure. So you don't conflate the two. Just because you're not being completely forthright about where you're coming from doesn't mean you're lying. You are operating with Takiyah in a game of forms. You are dealing with the forms of the party. It is the internal contradictions within these forms that will allow us to open the gates. When we open the gates, not only me, but the broad masses of infrared viewers are going to pour in this party and just take it over outright. When you open the gates to this party, we're all just going to, and we're going to have a fucking orgy of infrared. Yeah, gorillas and swords, infrared. We're going to do all that kind of shit, right? When you open the gates. We're going to have an ecstatic moment of glorious victory. And we're going to have a purge where every single liberal, lib shit, Democrat apologist is going to be completely expelled from the party. We are going to have a proletarian cultural revolution within the party and completely change the party from the top down and from the bottom up. In the meantime, you are left with artistic, ideological, theoretical, and practical discretion at the local level. For example, this is something I was faced in when I was fucking around in the local DSA youth chapter. When they're going to create an image, right? Steer them in the direction away from a lib shit, ugly corporate diversity image like the one they were peddling on Twitter. There's a name for that. It's called corporate diversity. You're going to steer them away from that style of art. You understand? Oh, they're going to get paranoid. Don't worry. But that either means they destroy themselves wholesale and then we'll come in and sweep in and pick up the pieces, or we take over. If they're not sufficiently paranoid, we will slip through the cracks. If they're too paranoid, they're going to wreck their own party and leave us to come and pick up the pieces. Either way, we win. Joe Sims is going to be thinking a lot about me.
CPUSA.
They're all going to be thinking a lot about me. That national committee of the CPUSA is going to be thinking about me. Because it's my goal to turn the party into the party of the American working class. Precisely. Either their walls will collapse as they look to tear them down to look for rats and rodents scurrying through the walls, or we open the gates ourselves. They're going to fight us with every possible resolve they have. They're going to go working full-time against us. So the question stands, who has more belief? Who has more resolve? Who has more tenacity? Who has more strength? Who has more energy? Who has more willpower? We don't intend on blinking. We're going to make that party so fucking unrecognizable that we're going to cause 1,000 splits. But we will remain. We're not splitting from the Communist Party. There's no point in splitting. If you're going to split, then the party form is obsolete then. There should be no Communist Party. There's either a Communist Party or no Communist Party.
Based.
Thank you, Kamath. Appreciate you. There's either a Communist Party or no Communist Party. If we can't take this one, there will be no party. There will be no Communist Party, at least. And we must reevaluate the significance of parties. But this is the dialectic of media and organization that is at play. And we're not just doing this because infrared is going to be banned. This is going to teach you the discipline that is necessary to become an effective political operative. The Bolsheviks did this, and that's why they were better than the Social Democrats in Europe. Because they mastered the art of Takiyah, and it made them strong. It allowed them to perceive the true essence of things beyond the superficial forms. And this will teach you how to have the infrared vision to see the concrete meat and potatoes, substantive matters that actually matter and the superficial bullshit that doesn't.